Hey guys, Uncorrupt here. The best performing Death Knight deck early in the meta for me so far has been none other than Triple Blood Control Death Knight. You can see here, I've been able to play it to a 9-3 record. I did have this one draw against Hunter that you might notice here. It was actually a win, and I threw. Fortunately, I didn't throw too hard, so it ended up just being a draw. Quick look at the deck here. If you're interested in this deck specifically, you're going to be able to find that deck code in the description of the video. If you don't see it, make sure you hit that expand button, and you'll be able to find that deck code. Have this deck for yourself. Pretty much what you would expect from a Blood Death Knight deck. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of removal in here. Things like the Heart Strikes. I like the Hematurge. I've actually been keeping this in the mulligan. Gives us the ability to be able to generate a little bit of extra resources. Of course, Vampiric Blood. You would never ever want to play a triple blood deck without this. It's just so good. Make sure you've got the corpses to spend with it so that you gain 10 health and actually able to draw a card. We're running Death Strikes. Again, it's just medium to big size minion removal that's also going to have lifesteal. We've got Blood Boil to be able to clear those smaller boards and be able to have lifesteal. Corpse Explosion for the bigger boards, as long as we have enough corpses to be able to get rid of those boards. And then we're also running like Corrupted Ashbringers. Again, it's just lifesteal. It lets us remove minions. Potentially we can use it to be able to go face. Null Muncher seems to be a pretty insane card. It's just so good. It's removing the smaller minions. It could potentially go face. And it's got lifesteal on it. Again, just a control deck. We want to be able to heal ourselves. Alexandros Mograine making the cut here so far. The card hasn't been great in control matchups. It's going to be good if you can get it down early, or if you can get it down with a Brand Bronzebeard to be able to double the effect so that your opponent is taking 6 damage every single turn. It can be good. If you're facing a lot of aggro, I could definitely see this card as being a cut. It may not make it in the end. And then again, just further removal in the form of Soul Stealers here. By the time we get to the top end of our deck, there's going to be no board that we can't remove with this. And then we round it out with the Sire Denathrius. Things like Bone Guard Commander, the Hero Power, and the other minions that we're going to be playing down on the board are going to beef up the Denathrius. My personal record so far is a 43 damage Denathrius. I actually played that against my opponent in a Blood Mirror, and believe it or not, the 43 damage did not kill my opponent on an empty board. Apparently, if your opponent has like 60 or 70 health, a 40 damage Denathrius is actually not a win condition. So there is that to look forward to. That's the deck. Let's hop in and see how it plays. Looks like we're up against Druid here. It's still early in the meta. I have no idea exactly what my opponent is going to be playing. So in situations like that, I tend to try to focus more on what my deck is trying to do. So I really want to be looking for maybe these early control cards, just in case it is some form of aggro Druid. Again, there's a lot of different options that it could be so early in the meta. I'm really not going to keep any of this. We're going to see if we can find something else. You can see right here again, 9-3, pretty solid win rate with it so far. And all of the games have been played in and around rank, say, I don't know, 275 to 400, roughly in that range, just so you know. Looks like it's a 30-card Druid, so again, I'm not totally sure what that means, but I want to get the Body Bagger down. This card's really good. I feel like it belongs maybe in almost every Death Knight deck. Being able to play it on turn 1 is really good. So our opponent is playing Quest here. That means they're going to be gaining a lot of armor, and they're actually going to have, I think it's a 48 damage OTK that they can play. They're going to have to draw a Nubricon. They're going to have to complete their quest. A lot of things are going to happen here for them to be able to do that. No real option here for us, so we're just going to Hero Power. Almost kind of hoping that the Body Bagger dies so that we can play the Vizier active, but that does not appear to be the case. At this point, I think we actually just tempo the Bran. We can trade here, tempo the Bran. I guess it's pretty likely they could remove it though with 3 mana and 4 health, so maybe we just tempo out the Nerubian Vizier. Other option would just be Hero Power and trade, but I feel like we want to try to put stuff on the board to maybe be able to pressure our opponent. Not getting the discount isn't the end of the world. We just want to, I think we really just want the stats on the board. We're not going to have the corpses for this. Maybe actually just draw a card. Deal damage and draw a card for next turn. It's definitely between the 2 4-mana cards. And we could play this next turn and just get the 2 2/2s with Taunt. The original 2/2s would generate corpses as well, I guess. Yeah, we'll go for it. It's not ideal. We're off to a slow start. have considered making this trade here. We don't necessarily want to take a lot of damage because our opponent is going to have access to such a big damage combo. They also still have 2 kept cards over here. This is definitely going to shape up to be a weird game. Oops, a Scorpid. Just going to go ahead and play this out onto the board. I'll take that trade. We could have actually held on to this to be able to play it with corpses, to be able to have these with Reborn. Could have been good if we were able to block our opponent's OTK turn. It's not going to be an option now, but I feel like I just want to get the tempo out on the board. We pick up the Sire here. So, again, just not a whole lot to do. We can actually draw cards, though. Just not this turn. But with the hero power trade into this, we could potentially draw cards. Are we ever going to be wide enough to be able to take advantage of something like this? Could even just discover a Frost card here. Allows us to push the 1. And we're going to grab this guy. So next turn, we might be able to draw cards. I'd like to be able to get our health total up. We would want to hit something like the Vampiric Blood here. Opponent hits Guff. And I think I actually do just want to get down this Rhyme Sculptor. I don't think this deck is going to be able to deal with wide boards very well. So we're just going to go wide and see if we can put a little pressure on. All this is also going to juice our Denathrius if these minions do die. It's definitely something that we're going to want to keep our eye on. We're going to have Patchwork next turn if we want it. We could potentially remove minions from the board, hand, and deck. Feels pretty strong. Ideally, I would like to be able to remove their quest reward if possible.
You gotta be scrappy with scraps.
Another Scorpid. So we can draw cards here. Patchwork just feels like it's going to be pretty strong, though. Trade here and get down the Patchwork, and then we're able to push 7. Could even just play the Famished Fool to be able to draw cards. I mean, things like Gnome Muncher with the Taunt are going to be good. Bone Guards are going to be really good as well. I think we actually want to draw cards here. If our opponent can't hit us in the face, then they're not going to be able to win the game, so drawing these Bone Guards would just be very, very strong here. Just going to go ahead and play the Astalor. That's going to be able to give us 5 armor when we play this upgraded version. Again, I'm really just wanting to not necessarily pressure my opponent's health total as much as I want to stay safe. And I don't know if I've been clear in my thinking. It's a little bit of a different matchup. I'm not used to playing it. But the more I think about it, the more I think we want to try to play the control game against this matchup and just not die to an OTK rather than trying to pressure our opponent's health total. This deck isn't really going to be good at pressuring your opponent in a lot of situations. It's just really weird playing against a Quest Druid. I do think this is a really good deck, though.
Anybody?
So they're still working to try to complete the quest. We have 12 damage on board. Looks like they're going to be completing the quest here pretty quickly. So I think... I think Patchwork is actually going to be the play here. I don't necessarily like where we're at. But it is going to be the play. And we'll go ahead and play the Rune Forging to thin out our deck a little bit. Again, I feel like if we just hit the Bone Guard Commander, we win the game. As far as I know, this deck is not going to be running anything that could deal with that many different taunts. And it's going to prevent them from being able to hit us in the face with their combo. It's likely not going to be played this turn, which is good. Ideally, we would like either Gnome Munchers or Bone Guard Commanders. That's going to be 4 out of 25. Not bad odds there. If we're not able to get it, we're likely just going to get down the Astalor. We're going to force them to have the full combo in order to be able to kill us. They only have 6 cards left in the deck, though. It feels like we're most likely going to be dead to 48 damage. Mutinous now would also be a good draw. We could eat their quest reward. We hit Mograine. So we have no way to be able to taunt up. I think I want to try to discover maybe a Vampiric Blood. I'm actually going to use the Bran along with this, so that we can discover twice. Okay, so we hit a Vampiric Blood, and we hit an Anti-Magic Shell. Definitely want to play this. I'm comfortable with the overdraw. It only puts us to 46 though, so we're actually still just dead to the combo. So it's unfortunate. It's going to end up being really close. We're going to burn a card, it doesn't matter. Pretty sure we're just dead here. Unfortunately, we didn't draw. We had Talon, we had a couple of Gnome Munchers, we had a couple of Bone Guards. But actually, they're not playing the Anubricon, so it looks like we're actually just going to be able to win this, which is interesting. Well, we did hit a Gnome Muncher, but we didn't have the mana to be able to play it. It doesn't really matter what we burn. I think we just kill him here. Denathrius is at 12. They're going to have a small board. We still have a board presence. So I'm actually expecting to win this, but unfortunate for our opponent because I really would have expected them to be able to have the combo. I think the combo for this deck is you play a Nubricon, then you're able to, with your armor, you're able to play the Guff the Tough quest reward, and then you just continue to gain armor as you play more and more Guffs. With Bran, you're able to get a 48 damage attack. You can play 3 Guff the Toughs. It's going to be charging you armor instead of mana. They deal 48 damage, so I think that's going to be it. This will be 13. Yep. He's at 20. So this is actually just going to end the game here. So you can see we were actually able to beat the Quest Druid. That's kind of how the deck is played. I probably misplayed that matchup a little bit. I know I maybe confused the lines that I was trying to explain. Again, it's the early meta. You don't know what you're playing against. And, you know, it can be a little bit confusing, but it is definitely fun. I encourage you, even if you're not playing this deck, get out on the ladder, experiment, play some different things. Thank you for watching. I'm Uncorrupt. Good luck out on the ladder.